Okay, I'm just going to jump in. This is a collective reading, and really it came about because I saw 111 flashing on the microwave, and then when I pushed stop to clear it, it was 404. And I thought, oh, okay, there's a message here. And I immediately felt this is collective also. So I keep my personal readings in a different journal. This one is the only second time that I've done a collective reading in this, but I kind of like it because it has a verse on the top, which, whatever. But it says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." Matthew 5:8, and it says NIV. But it's also 1/11/2026, which is 11/11. So I mean that's significant as well. Okay. So, right out of the gate, something about you is low key outrageous to others. You are living in your truth, in alignment, standing your ground, and not letting someone be a martyr. This is also about flow. Like that came through really strong, but at the same time, it doesn't look like it though. That's the distraction for others. They don't get to see it happen, they don't get to experience it with you. This is self belief in the face of diversity, confronting differences. There is no comparison. This is yours alone. Your identity is yours, it's your choice. You are not one to cross. Your spiritual integrity is your greatest army. Also, soul family connections came through. Disrupting the status quo. You question things. Pattern disruptor, generational pattern disruptor. There's a secret something being created here. It's personal, powerful, and generational. Personal legacy, law of attraction, law of assumption is significant here too. Believing it so much that it becomes possible. And the song Lucky Me by Morgan St. James. Lucky me must be my energy. And this is about a glow up and ultimately about alignment. So flow and alignment, collective flow alignment. So there is a certain collective that you could be aligning with. So that could be significant as well. So I didn't mean to yell that. I'm just going to jump in. I felt very called to use the Trip and Wait tarot. And really I was just kind of perusing like what's it going to be? And this stood out to me. But something about it felt low-key outrageous. Like others would be like, so shocking. But you're like, what? What are you even talking about? So, right out of the gate is the Five of Wands. So the general atmosphere around you, it's like standing your ground. But there is this very internal battle that's happening. But also could be significant something about twin doves of hope. So however that resonates. But also there's like a transformation happening here with the butterfly wings. It feels like there are a lot of things that could be significant, that could be signs. So seeing a lot of signs that are very personal for you, that are very significant. What crosses that is the King of Pentacles. Yeah. It's like a long-term, steady, stable, masculine. But with it being sideways, there's almost this feeling of, it could be abandonment of that masculine energy. It feels like a quiet space is being created. I don't necessarily know what I mean when I say that, but it feels like a quiet space is being created. But that also means that essentially there's a clearing out of a certain energy. And I was going to say, like, right before I started this reading, I was letting my phone charge a little bit more. And so I ended up taking out the trash. And I thought, that's significant because this is about like spiritually, energetically, maybe even physically taking out the trash. But there's space being created for something. Again, it feels like there's something secret that's being created, but like nobody's really privy to that. Again, it doesn't look like that. The foundation is King of Swords, so there is a strong masculine energy already showing up here. You've mastered your mindsets. You've mastered the I want to say the foundational efforts of your life. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now, literally. I low-key want to like stop the whole reading. Sometimes this happens in collective readings, and in the past it's really made me nervous, like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But like there's some really big energy at play here because like we've already got these two kings, albeit the money king, he's a little sideways, but this other king, like, again, standing his ground, standing on business. He's got that moral integrity. He's fierce on his boundaries. But also, I mean, there's the collect or the words, the major arcana, like the high priestess and death. So there, like, there's a lot of spirit at play. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I feel like I've veered off course. And maybe that's also the energy too, because it talks about literally flow when it doesn't feel like it, or when it doesn't even look like it. Moving into alignment when it doesn't necessarily look like it. Okay, so the passing energy is the high priestess. So there is a wisdom here. There is, I would even say, third eye activation. And I know that collectively there was kind of the throat chakra activation before this, and so this feels like a natural progression. So that could also be part of it. There is this energy of being able to see, of seeing something, and again, maybe even seeing something that others couldn't see. What's on your mind is death, which is literally a total rebirth, the natural ending to a situation, like the passing of the old versions, old mindsets, old relationships, old situations, old habits, old patterns, disrupting. But again, something is being created in the wake of, in the space that the loss of this thing has created or is in process of creating. I mean, maybe it's even like daddy issues because of all the masculine that's coming here. But then we've got this strong feminine energy surrounding it with the Queen of Swords in the near future and that High Priestess in the past. So it's like there's a strong, like a stacking of energy. So there is, even despite the instability of the very core of the reading, there's a lot of stable masculine and feminine energy. There's a good balance around it. So, like, I mean, I feel like that's significant as well. Queen of Swords, your energy speaks for you before you ever open your mouth. Like, there's a self-contained power here, and so intentional with your words because you know the power of your words, and you know the power of your thoughts, the power of your perspective, and like you stand in your truth. You again stand on business. There's been this even inner child integration, this transformation, and you're like continuously in transformation, always becoming a better and better version. like this beautiful evolution of self. The way you see it is the Fool. And it does feel like a new version. And I did hear, here's coming a better version of me. And then I feel like I hear that so much. So then I'm gaslighting myself. Am I making that up? But no, I literally hear that song and it makes me think, oh, there is literally coming a new, better version of me. It's Fiona Apple. I can't remember the name of the song, but it says, here's coming a better version of me. This is also stepping out on faith. And again, I heard stepping out on integrity. So integrity is a big deal. Integrity is a really big deal. Other people see Ace of Cups. This is new emotional cycles. Again, with the two doves, the twin doves of hope. That's interesting that they came out again. So there is almost this favor or this protection around you. Because there's something pure about your intentions. But it feels again like there's some kind of new, you make people think, you make them see things in a new way, you make them consider things in a way they hadn't before. The emotions of the situation is the Four of Wands, so there is this emotional stability here, this emotional integration. And it feels like aspects of, because like there's some people in the background, these two figures. So it's almost like the integration of different aspects of yourself, different versions of yourself. This is also coming through as emotional inclusivity. So again, like this soul family connection that's coming, and it seemingly is almost coming out of nowhere, but it's becoming more and more important. The soul family and creating space and spending actual emotional time with them. And the final outcome is the Eight of Wands. So there is a major transformation taking place. And this is a very fast moving energy. And I feel like you feel it coming in, but once it comes in, it's going to be almost like this whirlwind. I'm hearing winds of change, but there is, again, this beautiful transformation taking place, like on the wings of butterflies, I'm hearing, which is significant because even this King of Swords has the wings behind him. And the Queen here surrounded by the butterflies, and then here they are again. So it feels like connections and signs, signposts, like little connections to let you know that you are in alignment. And this is also like communication, but it's also the need to kind of prioritize your energy, make sure you know what's important, and you're not spending your time on things that are like mere distractions. Because although there's something distracting about your energy, others are being distracted for some reason. They're being distracted from the truth of what's happening because it's not their transformation, it's not their truth, it's yours. It's something very private and personal. But also at the same time, there's a protection here, but there's some kind of like stability surrounding it. Like it feels like power and purpose. And the overall energy is the Tower. So there's, again, this major disruptive energy, this shattering of illusions. You won't play the games that you may have even recently had to stand up to some family. Like you don't play the games, standing up to people. But also there's kind of this feeling of diving deeper coming through because of the way the card looks. So there's something about diving deeper, seeing to the root of something, seeing to the core of something. Under that is the Eight of Pentacles, and I feel like this has come out, and Queen of Pentacles under that. I feel like this has come out so often lately, like literally putting in the work, putting in the effort, making money, especially in a creative way, if that's possible for you. Like, could even be like a side hustle of some kind. But there's like the sun is rising, the dawn is shining on something. So there's something very creative work significance here, like putting your stamp on things even. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Abundance. So there's a very strong feminine energy here, even though the masculine energy is a little bit, I mean, it starts out a little bit wonky, but then it strengthens a bit. So there's a lot of healing that has gone on, a lot of mastery and embodiment that you've had to go through. Maybe the financial aspect is the next conquering, the next thing. And really it goes along with what I wrote about believing something so much that it literally becomes possible. Like your perspective of life itself changes that. It influences how it influences life. Like there's this connection here. Okay, so I'm just going to jump into the Oracle. And I used 2 of the decks with guidebooks, and both decks kind of seem like they had a lot that came out. So we'll just get to it. Of course, right off the bat, I was called to pull from the Time Traveler's Oracle, which is one of my favorite, and I use it often, but immediately I was like, ooh, I want to see. And again, because we were talking about the time, because it was 111 and then 404. So it was something about the time too. We got 18, growth, the Amazon rainforest, Brazil. Number 8, courage, Vikings in the New World. 818. And then 22, leadership, ancient Egypt. And then number 28, patience, under the Bodhi tree, northern India. Bodhi, under the Bodhi tree. Okay, 18, 8, 22, and 28. I feel like maybe numbers are significant, especially because this whole reading originated from numbers. So I think that's interesting as well. Everything's so interesting. Okay, growth. Messages from the Amazon rainforest, Brazil. We jump into the Amazon rainforest 1,000,000 years into the past. The air is warm and humid, heady with the verdant sense of plants and animals around us. As we push our way through large, moist leaves, we hear a cacophony of bird and animal echoing through the forest. We bask in the vigorous life force energy. The Amazon rainforest has unparalleled biodiversity, with the largest collection of living plants and animals in the world. Scientists will eventually catalog over 2 million insect species, 40,000 plant species, 2,000 different species of fish, over 1,200 different birds, and about 800 different species of amphibians and reptiles. The robustness of the growth here is incredible. Wow, that's a lot. The time traveler's message: in order for a seed to sprout, it needs to cast off its tough outer layer. Once it does that, it can begin its rapid growth. When you receive this card, it can indicate the need to cast off old beliefs and release outdated limiting notions about who you are. When you do this, your energy expands. To step into your next cycle, you are being called upon to release dross from your past so that your energy can surge in ever-widening circles. Be conscientious about what you focus on, for whatever you place your attention on is what will expand in your life. Growth in your life can be mental, physical, or emotional. Expansion in all areas is occurring. Even if you've been thinking about developing your business or expanding an enterprise, this is a good time to do it. If you've been considering embarking on a retreat or program of self-growth, starting therapy, or gaining supplemental education, this card is telling you to move forward. So this is about growth and expansion. Wow, yeah. And like casting off old beliefs, even old versions of self, old habits, like taking out the trash, energetically, metaphorically, and literally. Okay. Number 8 is courage. Vikings in the New World. What an exciting adventure. We landed in Newfoundland around the year 1000 CE to visit the newly arrived Vikings. We're here with Leif Erikson, watching his people prepare the foundations of a new settlement. As we walk through their community, we're impressed by the vigor, physical strength, and grace of these men and women. It seems to radiate from the center of their being. What remarkable courage these early settlers had to cross the Atlantic Ocean in their longships, open-air wooden boats during huge storms and inclement weather. They set forth without certainty about where they would land or when they'd get there. Guided by the stars, the winds, and their connection to their gods, they traveled forward into the unknown. We are both inspired by their authority, command, and their dignity. It feels empowering just to be in the presence of such bravery and courage. The Time Traveler's Message. There are times to hold back and deliberate about life, and times to move forward with passion, power, and daringness. If there's something you wanted to do or say to act upon, this card signals that it is time to go forward. Don't back down. Face your fears. Act on your impulse now, and success will follow. Being courageous doesn't mean that you're not at all afraid. Being fearless means just that, to fear less. There are no certainties about the outcomes, but be willing to take a risk and step forward anyway. You may be on the verge of a massive breakthrough. Be resolute in honoring your truth and speak up for yourself. Yes. Yes. Live your passion. As a warrior of the light, you must step beyond self-imposed limitations to be a way shower for others. Bam, bam. Through you, others will be inspired to find and act upon their truth. Trust that you are unstoppable. Yes. And there was something else last night. I kind of had a breakthrough, like, because there's certain situations, and especially with people you care about, again, soul family connections, there's certain situations you have no control over. And so you kind of just have to have faith. And I kept saying, I have to have faith. But then I realized, no, actually, I get to have faith. I get to. It's a privilege to have that kind of faith. And I get to have that kind of faith. Even though I have no control, I absolutely get to have that kind of faith. I get to have that kind of courage. So this is, again, standing your ground on something, honoring your truth, speaking up for yourself. I did realize as I was reading this, like, oh yeah, I am wearing a hat, and I've kind of been wearing a hat all day. And again, there's this energy of something being created in secret, but it's like the courage to do something, and it's like not even having the necessity to tell anyone about it, but something about the doing of it is significant here. Okay, number 22, leadership. Messages from ancient Egypt. We arrive at one of my favorite places in the world, the land of the pharaohs and the pyramids. It's 2500 BCE, and we are standing before the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is just one of dozens in the region. It's no wonder that the Egyptian pyramids are known as one of the wonders of the world. The energy emanating from this pyramid and all the others here is immense. We are both in awe. The planning, authority, and direction of the pharaohs, architects, and builders that oversaw these feats is remarkable, perhaps unlike anything in the history of the planet. These early creators exemplify leadership. Imagine organizing a workforce of tens of thousands for each pyramid and then orchestrating the movement of 2 to 80-ton stones in perfect, tight-fitting placements. Additionally, imagine aligning them to the stars and the cardinal directions. This alignment is so precise that their north-south positions are within an accuracy of up to 0.05 degrees. We are inspired. Talk about alignment. Literally, talk about alignment. Wow. The Time Traveler's Message. It's time to take control of your life. Allow the energy of the pharaohs to feel you. If you felt like you have been in the background of life, this is your time to step up. You are a leader, so throw your shoulders back and move forward with power, grace, and certitude. Take on greater responsibility, and there will be a great outcome. Know that what you stand for has the possibility to last for many generations. Yes, legacy. Carefully plan your actions for times ahead, then with authority take action. Do not let anything get in the way of your momentum. Don't worry if you receive any pushback. Keep going, you will succeed. Remember that the greatest leaders know how to give support. Be the beacon for others, acting as a stepping stone so that they also reach their dreams. You are a beacon for the collective, a beacon of alignment and truth. And it's like you're the beacon of possibility as well, because you literally create that in your life, and so you show others that it's possible as well. It's like coming through a sovereignty as well. Number 28, patience. Messages from under the Bodhi tree, North India. We're in India in the 5th century, sitting under a Bodhi tree before the meditating figure of the Buddha. We're not alone. One of the other students here whispers to us that Siddhartha Gautama was born as a prince into an aristocratic family. As a young man, he led a comfortable life but was moved by the suffering in the world. He renounced his prosperous life for one of poverty, asceticism, and meditation, eventually becoming the founder of Buddhism. In fact, he became enlightened after sitting under this very tree for 49 days without moving. What incredible patience! As Buddha casts his wise eyes in our direction, we can feel the depth of his serenity. It feels like he's looking into our souls. There is such enduring stillness within him. He feels so patient with the foibles of the world, and yet very compassionate despite it all. Mm. The time traveler's message. This is a sign that patience is called for. Do not move forward. Do not make major decisions or sign contracts. Knowing will emerge. The right direction will appear. That's interesting because we also had the message having the courage to move forward with authority and leadership. But now you're being like asked to have patience as well. So that's almost like, oh, but wait. As you wait, it's not uncommon for your imagination to be sparked. Savor and mull over the information, but do not act on it just yet. You would not plant tomato seeds one night and then go shout at the earth the next morning because there are no tomatoes. Instead, you would trust that even if you can't see the results of your efforts, eventually tomatoes will appear. Whether you're waiting for an investment, a project, a relationship, or a diet to pay off, forbearance is called for. Beneath the surface, your life is transforming. You just need to be patient. Wow, we've been talking about that. Like something being created in secret, life transforming in secret, like moving into alignment in secret. Wow. If others are acting badly, remember that bad behavior comes out of fear. Don't look at this as a time of despairing, but as one of preparing for your future to unfold. If you are willing to wait a bit, your dreams will come in almost miraculous ways. So, wow. It's almost like giving the preparation to make a move, but like even though you're almost creating the authority and the power to do so, you're being asked to wait to make sure that the alignment can line up. So don't push the energy, because again, it's about flow. And for now, it's just letting it be what it is, even though it maybe feels a little off key, I guess. Okay. The next one I felt called to pull from the Oracle of Awakening because I thought, man, maybe there's something awakening here because it definitely feels like something, again, something being created, some kind of secret something is happening. So I got sacred masculine, protective, active, and inner strength. I think, you know what? I like the rest of these cards. I barely kind of glanced at them, but I did notice that we had the sacred masculine, the sacred rest, and then the sacred feminine under that, and then medicine journey and facing fear. So we have the sacred masculine, feminine, and sacred rest. And I think it's interesting because we have the two kings and the two queens that came out. So I think that's also very interesting to me. I think if I have a most used word in reading, it's probably interesting because everything's like, it's just so interesting how that lines up. It's just, I don't believe in coincidences, and it's all just so interesting. So, sacred masculine, protective, active, and inner strength. Sacred rest, retreat, balance, and restore. Sacred feminine, creation, receptive, and nurture. And then medicine journey, awaken, heal, realization. And facing fear, courage, and inner strength. So that all feels like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. There's something happening here. Something sacred happening here. Sacred masculine, the courage to challenge the status quo is the divine masculine arising within. The energy of the sacred masculine encompasses a balanced emotional state. Oh, we did have emotional stability here, so that's interesting. And it is a protector of life. It is strength without domination and leadership without force. There is courage and power to create and manifest in a way that is caring and compassionate. Interesting. We each have aspects of both the divine feminine and divine masculine in our bodies and our beings. Interestingly, they both showed up too. Balancing the polar aspects into a unified whole is an aspect of our spirit work. The divine feminine and masculine represent the elevated frequencies that are available with unconditional love and non-judgment as we harmonize with our higher selves. Over the last 5,000 years, humankind lived through the experience of the toxic patriarchy and the oppressed feminine. This is shifting as humankind expands into an understanding that we are not separate from our source or each other. The sacred divine masculine is awakening our hearts and minds to help us change the way we interact with each other and the earth. When this card comes up in a reading, it may be pointing for you to embrace the divine masculine within you or in another. There may be the need for forgiveness because of a distrust of the masculine as we have known it. The powerful energy of the divine masculine is being restored. And the affirmation, I tap into the divine masculine within to access courage and inspired leadership, which we literally had courage and leadership. Like literally had courage and leadership. So that is calling on that masculine energy within. But I even kind of talked about integration, like integration of past selves too. And the way they were showing up, like of the past selves. So that's so connected. Okay. Wow. Sacred rest. There is profound wisdom in knowing when to rest. Rest is a sacred act, and in societies that put productivity above all else, it can also be considered a rebellious and radical act of self-care. We need rest from the obvious things like work, careers, school, from parenting and caretaking. We also need rest from the less obvious things like thinking, our expectations, and the expectations of others, as well as stress and worry. If our culture taught us that taking time for rest was a strength instead of a weakness, we would have a different relationship with stress. Systems to support rest would be built into our society. In some parts of the world, particularly in Spain, shops and businesses shut down for siestas so that people can rest or take a midday nap. When this card shows up in a reading, take it as a gentle nudge, a reminder that you need to take some restful time and space for yourself. Or maybe it's not a nudge, but a full-on push from the universe letting you know that you need to make a change in the way you provide respite for yourself or suffer the consequences. This can be as simple as going to bed early, or maybe it's having the luxury of a nap or treating yourself to a massage. Meditation can do wonders for a stressed nervous system. And if you really want to do a deep dive, attend a spiritual retreat for a few days away from your regular routine. The affirmation is I create positive habits that support my mind, body, and soul. Rest is a sacred gift, and I give myself permission to do what is right for me. So it's interesting because we've talked about a pause. But then now it's like, oh, that pause is so that you can have this sacred rest. Because there's something being created, you're being prepared for something, but the need is to rest. That's part of the preparation. Okay. Then we've got the sacred feminine. Creation, receptive, and nurture. When you're being moved by the creative spirit, it is the divine feminine within. The frequency of the sacred feminine is one of unconditional love, wisdom, and intuition. It also encompasses the energy of the dark feminine, the aspect that destroys what no longer serves in order to create and grow what does serve. The sacred feminine is needed now. There's so much chaos in the world and much healing is needed. The divine feminine archetype represents unconditional love, but also the energy of the fierce protector. She provides nourishment from her body and cares deeply for all of her children. We each have aspects of both the divine feminine and divine masculine in our bodies and our beings. Balancing the polar aspects into a unified whole is a part of the collective spirit work. The divine feminine and masculine represent the elevated frequencies that are available as we harmonize with our higher selves. Over the last 5,000 years, humankind lived through the experience of the toxic patriarchy and the oppressed feminine. This is shifting as humankind expands into an understanding that we are not separate from our source or each other. The sacred divine feminine is awakening in our hearts to guide our minds and our choices. Reflect on what this card may be revealing to you in your life right now. Are you needing to connect with the nurturing and loving aspect of yourself? Or maybe you need to access the fierce energy of protection and sacred anger to stand up for an inequality that you are witnessing. Yes. Tap into this energy anytime you need healing. It exists within your own heart. The affirmation is I tap into the divine feminine within to access love and creativity. Yeah, I do feel like there is a fierceness or protectiveness that's coming through in relation to this soul family connection. Standing up for someone or like standing your ground against someone. Because again, this is about, your truth that you're living, you're standing on business. This is sacred anger. You're disrupting the pattern. You're going to see something and you're going to say something. You're not going to just let it be. You're not going to let it slide. You're not going to let the pattern continue unchecked. You're shattering the illusions within these, generational type situations. It could be other areas of your life too, but it felt like it was coming through that way as well. Okay, the next one is Medicine Journey. It is one of these esoteric cards. There's 5 of these cards, and they have this little Merkaba symbol here. It says these 5 cards work with concepts connected to deep mysteries, which you did have the High Priestess, and she is connected to the deep mysteries and the divine feminine. So super interesting there as well. When these cards come up in a reading, it may be an indication that you are in the process of a spiritual upgrade. I literally did say glow up. Pay close attention to your world and the significance of the meaning of these cards in your day-to-day life. Though these cards have powerful medicine, they may not feel aligned to each person's belief system. So remove them if you feel the need. So if this card doesn't align with you, then don't keep it. But if it does, then this is also a part of your message. Okay, and that is Medicine Journey. Plant spirits can heal the deepest reaches of the heart and soul. The term medicine journey describes the process and experience one goes through when they ingest a mind-altering substance in a ceremonial way. There are many types of medicine, both plant and animal, that can induce these types of experiences. One of the plant medicines that is most commonly used, but not commonly honored as such, is the marijuana cannabis plant. In modern times, people use it in a very recreational way, but historically this plant has been used in spiritual rituals for thousands of years. There are records of the ancient Egyptians, Chinese, and Indians using it in ceremonial ways over 2,700 years ago, which we did have like a message from India and a message from Egypt. So that's interesting as well. Cannabis offers access to increased imagination and creativity, heightened perspective and insight, and deeper levels of thought. Another of the common plant medicines that is becoming more readily available is the psychedelic mushroom, also known as psilocybin. With the proper guidance, dosage, and setting, many people will have a complete mystical experience, often expressed as the single most spiritually significant experience of their lives. Physical and mental conditions can generally be traced back to trauma and stress, among other challenges of the modern world. The power of the magic mushroom to facilitate experiences of bliss, higher understanding, and interconnection with the universe is an incredibly powerful healing tool that can treat many issues. Many states are now looking at using psilocybin to treat mental disorders such as PTSD and depression. If this card came up for you, it is an invitation to reflect on the way you work with plant medicine and to encourage you to use it in a very sacred way so that it may guide you into a deeper understanding of yourself and the universe. So if you align with this card, this could be about using plant medicine as part of your spiritual journey. And using it in a ritualistic way and not in like an abusive type of way. There is a very intentional difference there as well. Okay, and then we have facing fear. Our fears are our greatest strength, and it says courage and inner strength, and we literally had courage. So that's so interesting how there's so many repetitions of the message here. I feel like again that's significant because you're probably seeing a lot of the same signs and symbols and like repetitive messages coming through. Um, Spirit is talking to you. Our fears are our greatest teachers. It is important to understand that choices that are made in fear result in situations born from that fear. Fear is self perpetuating. There is no benefit to fear outside of the raw survival instinct that lets you know that it's time to run or defend yourself. All other fear is self created by our beliefs and projected upon us by our society's rules and expectations. I believe that what each of us fears the most is the unknown. This could be the loss of a job, the loss of a loved one, or our own death. There are so many other types of fears: the fear of not being loved or understood, fear of judgment, fear of pain. We fear that if something bad happens to us, we won't be able to recover. When we are able to realize that there is no inherent value to living in fear, we can then begin to look more deeply into our fears, to explore them, to gently probe these ideas and undercurrents that are subtly influencing almost every choice we make in our daily lives. This card is asking you to reflect on your fears. Healing and overcoming fear takes intentional, ongoing spirit work. Begin by noticing the filters through which you are experiencing life and how they hamper your freedom. Yes, your perspective literally influences it. Wow, yes. It may take radical trust and surrender to be able to move past certain fears, to trust that there is ultimately beauty in the unknown, beauty beyond this life and outside of our expectations. Yes, again, it's what I was saying, like you get to have faith. You get to have faith because you've experienced the mystery and the magic, and you get to trust the beauty in the unknown. Okay, the meditation idea says allow yourself to bring your fear to mind. Notice how it feels in your body. Send love to the part of you that feels the fear. Imagine placing the fear on an altar, offering or surrendering it to the source. Offering your fear, making your fear the offering. Okay. And I think that, I mean, that's so much of like they say that your new life will cost you your old life. I mean, yeah, it's the price. Your fear is the price. That's the sacrifice, the willing sacrifice. Okay, so the next set of cards is the archetype guides, which we kind of got a lot. So we've got the observer, observe rather than participate, gather information and see what is significant and what can be safely ignored. So yeah, again, like I kind of said with the 8 of Wands, there's a need to prioritize here, to not be distracted, because again, you are the distraction. Um, but you're observing rather than participating. You're seeing something, even facilitating change in an underlying sort of way, but needing to really discern and prioritize where you give your effort and attention. The mirror. Everything is a mirror. What is in your inner reality will reflect to your outer reality. And we have been talking about believing it so much that it becomes possible. So that's also that is mirroring. There's a mirroring here. Again, law of attraction, law of assumption. The inner is the outer, so there's also this reflection. So you could even be seeing things, and there could be potential triggers that come up. But I feel like you're also far enough on this journey that you know that those are opportunities for lessons, for new insights, for new perspectives. And every new perspective, it almost like cleanses that lens that your experience is filtered through. It cleanses that, and so you have even more of this third eye activation or this like third eye seeing happening. Like you're seeing things on not just a physical level, but like almost a multi-dimensional level, or almost like a more like galactic or cosmic type of level. The next one is the Knight. Someone is coming in strong with a desire to conquer and a willingness to fight for what they want. So I think that's interesting on a few levels. Um, because number one, we've been talking about you standing your ground. You're not one that's to be conquered. But at the same time, I think it's also interesting. It says a willingness to fight for what they want, because this King of Pentacles, he has that armored boot. So like he is like willing to fight for what is his. Although he seems like he's like earthy and pleasure loving, and he is, he's also not afraid to fight for what's his. But this sideways, again, there's this feeling of almost this abandonment of that fighting for or like belonging to someone who's willing to fight for us type of energy. So I think it's interesting also that it appears that type of exact energy is incoming. So like it's here, but it's that's, I want to say, super interesting, because both of those I just talked about are literally these two cards: standing your ground, but also like this being fought for type of energy. Like, you know, you're worth it, but like sometimes a lot of other people don't necessarily know, but like you still have to know and embody that before other people recognize. I hope that makes sense. The next one is the Tactician. With some good planning tactics, you can easily work out and make corrections for success. So getting a plan in place. Figuring out what moves you need to make. Again, there's not necessarily this need to hurry up and make the move, but there is the need to know what the move is, to prepare. Not quite ready to move. You're still in the sacred rest before you're being called to move. But in this meantime, in this liminal space here, you're also preparing for something. You're gaining the rest, the strength, and the maybe even mindset necessary to basically conquer this next phase of your life, or this next journey, because it does feel like you are, with this Fool here, you're on a brand new journey. You're embarking on something within yourself. And like, although you're not quite being called to move, to go for whatever this thing is, you're definitely being called to prepare in some way. And I think however that applies for each person is going to be like on a very individual basis. The Hunter. Use focus and patience to achieve your goals. Venture out and destroy that which would stand in your way of success. So again, this feeling of conquering your goals, having goals. And again, this tower. The tower often is obtrusive. It is in the way, and until it falls, you don't see the path ahead of you. Often the tower blocks the path. Again, it's in the tower falling, it's the shattering of the illusions. And so it feels like whatever that illusion was, it's been destroyed so that it can get the fuck out of the way, so that you can continue towards the success you've been working towards. Because like, you worked really hard to be here, to be this version of yourself, to be this person in your life. Like, you worked really hard. Okay. And then we have the Boss Lady, possible promotion on the horizon, climbing the corporate ladder, and gaining the respect of others, which I totally see that. I mean, that feels like a natural progression because of the way you kind of stand in your truth, the way you embody your energy, this balance within you. And also, again, you rock the boat, you question the status quo, you've learned to speak up for yourself, and now you're learning to trust that which you're seeing. I'm like scratching my third eye through the hat here. And that the saying on the hat says, love that for you. That could be significant. Um, so there's also kind of this feeling of moving in secret or moving in silence. But at the same time, your energy speaks before you ever open your mouth, because other people are still recognizing your authority and your leadership. It's just something that's inside of you. It's natural. So I think that's interesting as well. Okay, so I did really pull or feel called to pull from the sacred soul portals. Because I do kind of feel like I was like, I want to use a different sort of deck that I don't use often. And so this is what caught my attention. So we got Into the Woods. Things may seem scary at the moment, but your fear is clear and your angels are near. So there is this protectiveness here. And again, the path may not fully be, it may seem daunting, but the way is clear. So again, there's this flow, despite what it looks like. It kind of looks like it might be scary, but really there's this massive transformation underway, and you are protected in this process. That's probably why there's so much need for all this like energetic and spiritual secrecy, because of the power of what is happening within you. And then awe and wonder. Don't take anything for granted. There are many amazing things to come. So this is like gratitude is the great multiplier. So the literal more things you can be grateful for, the more that the more that abundance will multiply in your life. And then Stargate, you visit other dimensions in your dreams and bring back higher wisdom to share. So multi-dimensional teacher, a teacher of multi-dimensional wisdom. So you could even be a channeler. Dreams could be significant too. Maybe do a dream journal, and share the wisdom that you receive in your dreams. The next one is the World of Mystics. So this is a pretty witchy deck, and I don't use it super often, but I was like, yeah, okay, let's see. So we got black salt. There is no existing blockages. You're protected from all harm. So again, the message of protection is coming through. That's been a big one. Because with this, I'm noticing this target on her eye. So in some ways it feels like there's a target. And we've been talking about your third eye and the power of what you see. And so it's interesting that there's almost this target on that. But rest assured, you're protected, and it keeps getting repeated. You're protected. There's a protectiveness here. There's a protective energy here. Like right from the very beginning, there was this very strong protective energy. So it's like you don't protect things that are worthless. You protect things that are priceless. So there's something it's not outrageous. It seems outrageous to others, but what it actually is priceless. Wow. The next one is Treacherous Witch. Bad behavior comes with a price. Careful of those you have wronged. So there is this need to make sure that you're standing in your moral integrity and your kind of keeping your intentions clean and pure. But also on the other, because I feel like when you don't, you're going to receive the immediate karmic reciprocity of that. And I feel like it's going to be pretty immediate and you're going to recognize. But I think for other people that cross you, you've got this army behind you, this spiritual army. That's your integrity. That's your moral authority. So I think people, again, standing on business, I think people who have wronged you, there will be a price to pay. The next one is False Witch. It is safe to take off the mask. Careful who you pretend to be. So, and it feels like ripping off a mask. And I think that could even be like you pretending to be, I don't know. Because when you're standing on business, people are like, oh, but you're actually fierce. I thought you were like docile. I thought you were like meek. But really, just because you're peaceful doesn't mean you're not savage as fuck. Because how the fuck do they think you got this peaceful? It's that savagery. It's those boundaries. But at the same time, there is this need for authenticity for you to acknowledge this, and this, or whatever. It's safe for you to be yourself, to take off the mask and let people see I am not docile. I will not go along to get along. I will shatter the illusions and question the status quo. I will question things. Like, I want to fucking know why type of energy. And then broom, sweep away negative energy, declutter your life. So yeah, there's no room for that negative energy. There's no room for that shit. And it is clearing the energy out, literally taking out the trash or sweeping the negative energy away, decluttering it, throwing out things that simply are no longer working or no longer aligned, whether it's mindsets, beliefs, viewpoints, or certain relationships or jobs, whatever, however it applies, habits, things like that. Because again, there's this level up here, this glow up, this spiritual upgrade happening. And I think eventually it will come with a huge financial upgrade as well. I feel like that's part of the natural evolution of whatever this thing is that's being created. Okay, so messages from your future higher self. There's more to know than what you currently know. So you don't quite have all the information. There are things still in place, things still like happening behind the scenes. So again, like there's a lot of distraction and secrecy here, and even you don't have all of the information. Other people definitely have less, but even you don't have all of the information. But it will all make sense to you soon. So again, rest assured, it's all going to make sense to you soon. So whatever it is that you don't know, you trust with that high priestess. You trust that the information will be revealed in divine timing. You trust the timing. And the thing is, you get to trust that timing. You get to have such a powerful faith and belief. You get to trust that, and you know it will all make sense to you soon. Rejection is for your protection. So again, there's this element of protection coming through. It could look like rejection because other people simply don't see what's happening here. They don't necessarily recognize the power of what's happening here. And it's not for them to. It's simply not for them to at this point. You won't always feel alone. You're attracting your soul tribe. Yes. So again, this connection with the soul family connection, attracting your soul tribe. And that's part of revealing the masks and like letting people know there's this fierceness about you. You will stand on business. You will rock the boat. You will question the status quo when you felt called to. Not necessarily all the time, every day, but there are going to be certain instances where you're going to feel called to. I feel like I've gotten really loud and passionate as well. So that could be like you're like, you know, your voice, you're not afraid for it to be heard and you get a little louder when you're passionate about something. But this whole thing is kind of like living your passion. It's like walking your talk. And then don't stop living your life because of someone else. Yeah. Don't let someone else dictate how you live your life or who you become. They don't get that power. They don't have that authority. Don't stop living your life because of someone else. And the practical self-care message is be stronger than your excuses. Drop the excuses. When you drop all the excuses, you'll start seeing results. So I do feel like there's going to be some kind of energy of coming through, like certain things may be slightly triggering to you, or you may see something and recognize like a pattern of like excuses or a pattern of like victimhood in certain situations. So again, there's this feeling of not letting yourself be a martyr, but also not letting someone else be a martyr. It's almost like calling bullshit on your own bullshit is how it's coming across. Not only do you call bullshit on other people's bullshit, you call bullshit on your own bullshit. That's why you have the authority to call bullshit on other people's bullshit, because you call bullshit on your own. Like, that's what sets you apart. That's what gives you that authority. Create a routine. Having a routine helps you limit procrastination and gives you structure. So yeah, even that earlier card, like you needing to plan some moves, play chess, plan your tactical moves, create a routine to help you flourish. Like even if it's setting aside 5 to 10 minutes in the morning to do some journaling or some gratitude or dream journaling, whatever you want to do, or to have a sacred uh, communion with the sun while you drink your coffee or whatever. Or like schedule 30 minutes to go take a walk during your lunchtime. Like have these certain routines that help you limit the procrastination and like give yourself that structure, give yourself that fighting chance. And then self exploration. Peel off the false persona and get to know yourself to find the truth. I think that's interesting because you had that false witch about taking off the mask, of being careful who you pretend to be. I feel like you're seeing new layers of yourself. And it is because you're, again, calling bullshit on your own bullshit. You're acknowledging the shadow aspects and not running from them, not hiding from them. You're willing to acknowledge and integrate them. So it's a very powerful thing to be able to do that. And I think that's part of what is the catalyst of this whole transformation and awakening and upgrade that is happening. Okay, and I'm gonna end it on the song lyric deck. So we got quite a few here. The first one is Warning by Incubus. I suggest we learn to love ourselves before it's made illegal. When will we learn? When will we change? Just in time to see it all come down. Those left standing will make millions writing books on the way it should have been. She woke in the morning. She knew that her life had passed her by, and she called out a warning. Don't ever let life pass you by. I think for so many reasons this is significant because it is about learning to love yourself in a world that maybe doesn't necessarily actually want you to. And pretty soon it might actually be made illegal to. So, like, learning to do it now, but also like having a voice to show others the way, maybe literally even writing books and making millions, making an abundance of money in your teachings of others of how to learn to love themselves, how to be present and not let their life pass them by. Like it's that wisdom and that experience. The next one is Patient by Apollo Ltd. When my world keeps shaking and I'm breaking, when the skies won't stop raining and I'm fading, help me to be okay with what I can't change and remind me there's meaning in the waiting. Help me to be patient. Through every valley, there's a mountain on the other side. It's at the bottom where you're teaching me how to climb. And though my heart may break, I know it's in vain. I know it's not in vain. I need only to be still. So there is this need to be patient. Again, you're being called to be patient. That's so interesting because, again, I barely glanced at these. So I barely glanced to kind of let my subconscious quickly kind of integrate them or whatever, but I didn't really like look at them. So it's all like, wow. It's also, once it's all revealed, it's all like, wow, it is so aligned. It really does flow. But the whole time, it's kind of being kept secret. So again, it goes perfectly along with the reading itself so far. There's meaning in the waiting. This Is Me by Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas. Interesting because we've been talking about self-exploration and taking off the mask. So that's interesting too. I've always been the kind of girl that hid my face, so afraid to tell the world what I've got to say. But I have this dream bright inside of me. I'm going to let it show. It's time to let you know. This is real. This is me. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be now. Gonna let the light shine on me now. I found who I am. There's no way to hold it in. No more hiding who I want to be. This is me. Wow, yeah. So it's like there's something within you that's being revealed, something that you're not allowing the world to shame or to make you feel apologetic for. Okay. The next one is What I Choose by Taylor Hall. Shedding layers of my old self, stepping into this new version of this person I'm becoming. I'm I'm growing out of the patterns we're born into. Time for me to start something that I choose. waking up and feeling grateful, used to dream about this version of my life that I'm creating. So yes, that also is so aligned because there is this feeling of this generational like pattern breaking, interrupting, and it is like very intentional. Again, this gratitude is the great multiplier, and something about your dreams is significant, but also about creating this version of yourself. Again, it's like knowing the power of your mind, knowing how absolutely powerful your thoughts and intentions are, how powerful your actions are, like what you choose and who you choose to be. The next one is She Got It by Teddy Swims, Coco Jones, and Glorilla. She got it. Everything that I need. Always been so good to me. Now show me how you do it. First thing first, it's a real body. Oh, you can tell how it moves. It's so goddamn beautiful. And you need two hands when you hold it. Yeah, first thing first, it's a real body. It's about you having a real body, being a real person, not needing to live up to someone else's expectation. There's no comparison on these journeys. Your identity is your own. It's no one else's. Someone else's identity is not your own. And their identity is not a rejection of your identity. Just as your identity is not a rejection of their identity. It's just yours. It's yours alone. This process, this life, it's yours. It's a very personal thing. And it's a privilege to be able to share the wisdom of your life's experience with the collective to help them heal and change in a much more aligned way for themselves as well. So it's a very powerful, like almost snowball effect here. But like there's this absolute need for unconditional love and acceptance of self, knowing that you are where you're supposed to be, you are who you're supposed to be, and just having faith in that whole process. And then Paid to Exist by Brooks XTN. I am paid to exist, abundance on my list. Every breath that I take is the proof of my gift. What I seek seeks me back. Every dream's on track. I am light, I am whole, all abundance flows back. Time is my ally, the present my gold. Every truth I embody turns to riches untold. From the silence I rise, from the stillness I see. All I need, all I ask flows with ease into me. I breathe in, I receive. I breathe out, I believe. I am here, I am blessed, I exist, I possess, I am paid to exist. Yeah, there is this feeling of, again, the law of attraction, the law of assumption, this growth and this amplification happening. Something about your experience, something about your viewpoint, your perspective, and I would even almost go so far as to say purpose. And the last one is When Doves Cry by Prince. How can you just leave me standing alone in a world that's so cold? Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe you're just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. Teach if you will, no, touch if you will, my stomach, feel how it trembles inside. You've got the butterflies all tied up. Don't make me chase you. Even doves have pride. That's interesting because we've been talking about the twin doves of hope. So that's really fucking interesting. And we've kind of been talking also about the masculine and the feminine. And butterflies have been significant as well. So I think it's interesting also how it talked about butterflies being all tied up. I also feel like there's this level of like reprogramming or like rewriting the script. Also, like I said reprogramming, but like a reprogramming the subconscious even, that could be extremely significant, especially because of the law of attraction and law of assumption, and like all of the work that's been done in that area, in that aspect. Um, so that could be significant as well. And it literally is this feeling of like you're literally becoming so powerful that You're creating a possibility that wasn't previously possible. Like you're so powerful that you're literally creating the life of your dreams. Like one step at a time, you're being prepared for a huge upgrade. But whatever it is, it's happening in secret in a way that other people can't necessarily recognize or are not meant to. It's almost this feeling of this internal, not necessarily chaos, but huge transformation, because there is this stability while this like wild transformation is happening. But on the outside, it's like calm, cool, and collected. But inside, there's this whole like, it's like turbulence and disruption, but also again, there's this steadiness or stability about it. Like it's not knocking you off kilter. Like it's nothing you can't handle, like this transformation, but it's so massive. Like other people, like they just they don't get it. They don't, and I don't even think you fully get it, how big this thing is, because it's not so overwhelming and encompassing. I mean, it's almost all encompassing, but it's not like overwhelming you. I think there's also this feeling of, that the strength of your soul was born on the backs of moments that brought you to your knees. And so any moment that does that, you absolutely can handle it because you know the strength of your own soul. You have this ultimate belief and faith in yourself and in something greater than yourself. There is meaning in the waiting. You don't have all of the answers, but there's meaning in that. You trust. There is this absolute, I'm like being distracted, not even distracted, I'm like staring at this eye. There's this third eye, this insight, this absolute blind faith, but at the same time the eye is wide open. The third eye is wide open. It seems like it's blind faith, but the third eye is wide open. Okay, so blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. 111 and 404 and even 1111. Something about you is low-key outrageous to others. Living your truth in alignment, standing your ground, not letting someone be a martyr. Flow. It doesn't look like it though. That's the distraction for others. They don't get to see it happen. They don't get to experience it with you. Self-belief in the face of diversity. Confronting differences. There is no comparison. This is yours alone. Your identity is yours. It's your choice. Oh, and you had what I choose also, so that's interesting. You are not one to cross. Your spiritual integrity is your greatest army. Soul family connections, yeah. Disrupting the status quo. You question things. Pattern disruptor, generational. There's a secret something being created here. It's personal, powerful, and generational. Personal legacy, law of attraction, law of assumption. Believing it so much that it becomes possible. Lucky Me must be my energy. And that was a song by Morgan St. James, Lucky Me. And Glow Up. And then ultimately, alignment. So collective, flow, alignment. So yeah. I don't know if that was informative or not. But maybe it kind of explains the energy that you feel, but maybe can't necessarily put a name to, because it's still being shaped. Because it's like almost something that's woven into your DNA. So it's whatever it is, it's this natural progression of, but there is this distinct transformation happening. And again, like the butterfly, you used to be a caterpillar, but you're about to be a butterfly. So there's a very distinct transformation, a very distinct before and after that's almost being created here. Like you can look back in times in your life, well, I used to be this way and now I'm this way. It's one of those moments. I used to see this or be like this and now I'm this. And then the trajectory of your life is literally changing in this space. And I want to keep even looking at the death card. It's like the trajectory is changing. The rebirth is happening. And you are exactly where you're supposed to be and who you're supposed to be. And everything else, you'll figure it out along the way, because you are absolutely the most capable person to live your life, to be you. And so it's time to be that, unmasked and unapologetic. I love you, and you deserve everything.